Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show, and we have a ton of people here with us today. Well, not a ton, just 3 people. We really don't weigh a ton. I mean, intellectually, we're probably a ton, but not that much. Those of you that could not see the show prep, that thing, the show prep cam, there is a reason why. There's a note hanging where the camera used to hang. It said, "Thanks for the free meth." And it is signed by Van Strange. Yep. So, Pete, I don't know why you'd give Van keys to the place, but if other stuff starts disappearing, it's not me. It's definitely not Amanda. It's Van Strange.
Check the pawn shops.
Yeah, check the pawn shops if you want that camera back. It was the newer of the cameras. It was the nicer, most expensive one.
Terrible.
Ooh, I don't know how much money Pete spent on that, but he is going to be hot. He's going to be mad. He is not going to be happy. And I can't do a thing about it.
That's at least 7 minutes in heaven for Van Strange.
I know that. Well, look, if Pete would just put him on the payroll. Yeah. Of course, I don't think he's insurable.
I don't think so.
I don't think. Remember we talked about Richard Pryor not being insurable for Blazing Saddles?
We could talk about Casey, Brightway Insurance, the Casey Agency.
The Casey Agency? I don't think they would insure him. No, Casey, no. They are not going to insure.
All right.
No, Ashley Casey and his group is smart enough to stay about 7 miles away from Van Strange.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's make some money for people who are really good with money. Hopefully that's us one day. Aber Kresge and Associates, it's a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing the top levels of service in the areas of tax compliance, planning for businesses, individual estates, and trust. They also do audits, reviews, and other accounting services. If you need a business valuation, forensic analysis, or litigation support, I know they do litigation support. You can reach them at 904-460-0747 or online at abearkresgecpa.com.
Let's step into the world of support and healing with Epic Behavioral Healthcare. For over 50 years, Epic has been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance use or mental health disorders. Whether you're a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family, Epic is here to lend a helping hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone. From their walk-in access center to their mobile response team, from inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling, Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention training, parenting education, and much more. Epic Behavioral Healthcare for all of your mental health needs.
And we have South State. The team at South State Bank is a group of bankers you can count on. Their approach to building long-term relationships with their customers is the best in the business. If you're looking for a banking relationship you can depend on, check out South State Bank. They've got 3 locations to serve you in St. Augustine at State Road 312, State Road 16, and the beach. Or visit their website at southstatebank.com. Member of the FDIC, South State Bank.
All right, and Salomon Services, it's the premier place for personal training in St. Augustine. They specialize in both youth and adult personal training classes. They've got small group strength and fitness development. They do all of this amazing stuff in a state-of-the-art center with both indoor and outdoor turf areas, and all of their coaches are certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Know this because I'm there a couple times a week. Great people, great crew to work out with. 904-461-9945. That's 904-461-9945. Salomon Services. You can check them out online as well. Great place to get in shape. Look, it's only been 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to get in shape.
You're not too late.
I mean, a lot of you are thinking, I want to be in shape like Levi. You got to go someplace to work out. Not everybody has Levi's work ethic.
If I
and his own home gym.
If I want to keep winning at all the men's sports I'm winning at, I need to go there.
Did you win again last week?
We did.
Awesome.
Have you lost since Trump has been inaugurated?
I don't think so. I mean, I play in 2 basketball leagues, couple golf tournaments here and there. I used to play flag football, kind of retired from that. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is a team of winners over here.
Right?
I mean, you know, when you're Republican, you just win. It's just how it goes.
It's just
about time.
This has been the most fun winning. So Pam Bondi got through the other day. We have Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. got out of committee.
Yep.
And it looks like they have a pretty good shot right now, which would be all of Trump's controversial nominees getting through and approved. So kind of winning.
Do you know what the big attack on X is right now for the Democrats, what they're attacking?
No, tell me what they are.
They are all attacking the fact that Elon was not elected to the position that he's in. And everyone's meme comeback is, was Harris elected in your primary?
Oh, she nominated?
Did they not see that one coming?
They walked right into it, just like they do everything else.
So I'm going to throw this out at the top of the show. So I read something this morning. Democrats have decided that there are a couple of things. One, they're furious that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Doge are shutting down government programs that are wasting American tax dollars.
Yep.
When we send $50 billion of aid overseas to countries who mostly don't like us for stupid programs that they don't like, instead of spending that money to help residents in North Carolina and California, our own U.S. citizens, that's just sheer stupidity. So there's nobody out there in America that's upset about this except for Democrats.
Right.
Because this is like their private little fund that they've been running off of. And I'm sure there's other stuff. Read an article today. Apparently, large sum of money, $1 million+ was sent to Politico. Might have been as much as $8 million.
Yep.
For subscriptions.
Yep.
To Politico. This stuff's for free.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, for subscriptions. So it was just a way of giving Politico money. Yeah. Right. While Politico's writing favorable article after favorable article after favorable article about liberals and Democrats. So the candy jar is being broken. The money's being taken out. But Democrats are furious. The president is not spending money. We allocated the money. He should spend the money. Okay. They have a solution. They decided that on March the 14th is when the government is supposed to shut down. They are going to let the government shut down. So I laughed. I started laughing. I said, I now see Trump's endgame. Trump wants the Democrats to shut the government down. Then he doesn't have to shut down whole departments. He doesn't have to furlough anybody. He doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to pay them. The government's shut down. And Trump can say, it's now a national emergency. We have to pay our debt. So I'm confiscating the money that you've already allocated that we haven't spent. And I'm going to use that to pay the military, the Coast Guard, the FAA, police and law enforcement. Everybody else can stay home. The Democrats are going to be up the creek without a paddle if Trump pulls something like this, right? If they go to shut the government down, they're like, we're going to show you for not spending money. We're going to let you not, we're going to shut the government down. It's the dumbest plan I've ever heard in my life. It's like, we're going to score more points in basketball by passing the other team the ball.
Yeah, that's basically what it sounds like.
That's exactly. So I'm like, you guys are nuts. I said, so I'm watching this thinking this could be the greatest government shutdown in the history of government shutdowns.
Well, Politico was either the first or among the first to report that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
I wonder how much money they got
I just wonder if that has something to do with why our government was so keen on subscribing.
I wonder why. Look, we're going to find out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think there were 5,000 FBI agents involved in looking into people that were on January 6th at the Capitol. Yeah. 5,000 out of, I don't know, 16,000.
How many agents per arrest?
That's a lot per arrest. It's crazy. It's a crazy number. And maybe the 5,000 is agents plus staff. But I have a feeling that if your name or fingerprints are on any of that stuff, you probably should be looking for a job in the private security industry.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. You guys want to know something else that's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't divulged this to anyone yet, but I did something crazy today. Something I haven't done in 12 years. I shaved my head.
Okay.
Head shave.
Head shave. The girlfriend told me to do it this morning. Yeah.
Man,
I figured
viewership among women
New America, new America, new me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was the thought. New America, new me. Get rid of the waste.
Yeah.
There was a lot of government waste up here. I had to get rid of it.
So I went the other way. I started growing the beard when Trump got elected.
Yeah.
I haven't shaved since Trump got elected. So
See, I shaved the beard one time, and my girlfriend was like, "Don't ever do that again." And I was like, "I agree with you."
oh, I think
It
I'd
was a
look younger if
mistake.
I shaved it. I just don't want to shave it right now. I'm just good. So
But
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed over the past 3 weeks since Trump's been in office is the amount of transparency coming out of the White House staff. It's
Yeah.
almost like the people know what's going on a day-to-day basis.
Almost.
well, the other funny thing is reporters are. Trump will do 17 things in a day. So he does item number 1, which gets them mad.
Mm-hmm.
Before they can write the article, have it checked, publish the article, and move on to number 2, he's on number 17.
Yep.
So it seems like, well, that happened a while ago. Why are you guys complaining about that now?
Yeah.
Because he's moving so fast, right? The other thing is they're having a hard time keeping up with Trump. Now, you got to think about you and I are athletes. We work out all the time. You do what you have to do to keep your body in shape to play the sport that you want to play.
Right.
If someone said, Levi, I'm giving you 4 years off from playing basketball. 4 years, you don't have to work out. 4 years, you don't have to show up to workouts. 4 years, you don't pick up and shoot a ball. But then one day after the 4th year is over, I'm putting you at the most competitive league you've ever been at, which is where they are, right? They took a 4-year vacation. They got every day at 9:30, Biden's done. Every weekend, Biden's in Delaware, I'm going home. They can't keep up with this guy. They can't keep up with Trump, right? But they told you Biden runs circles around us. They are screwed. They're getting.
I think they were being honest. I think Biden was running circles around them, and that's the problem.
He was
They had
playing
no
duck-
idea what was going.
He was playing Duck, Duck, Goose.
Duck, duck, goose, and they still had no idea what was going
I
on.
teed that up for you, and you hit it out of the park.
Right
Well
there.
done. Well done. Yes, they couldn't keep up with Biden. They can't keep up with Trump. So I just think it's right. They don't have a leader. They're kind of rudderless. If the idea is to shut the government down, and the Democrats have used every government shutdown to blame Republicans for shutting it down and how evil they were. Do you know the memes that are going to come out with kids not getting breakfast cereal and all the stuff? If Trump can get them to try to shut the government down, it will be just a thing of beauty for him. Plus, like I said, he can declare a national emergency. We've got to fund the military. We got to fund our police. We got to fund the FAA. So I'm just going to take the money you allocated for other things, and I'm just going to put it there.
Yeah.
I'm going to take all the USAID money and pay that. I'm going to take the Department of Education money. And if I was a Department of Education worker right now, I would be making sure that resume was looking good.
Yeah, you better be.
I would be making sure that thing is looking
And that would be an awesome time for you to get your crafting on par and open up your Etsy shop.
Barbara Jean asked, did Trump sign the women's sports bill? Yes, he did. Surrounded by a group of young female athletes.
Was Riley Gaines there?
I did not see Riley Gaines. I hope that she is there. She's advocated for this.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it, but I'm pretty sure he didn't sniff one of the little girls' hair.
Really?
Pretty sure he did not.
Man, we're just winning left and right.
I know.
I mean, the bill of common sense that men shouldn't be participating in women's sports, that one.
Have you competed in a co-ed basketball league?
Yeah, in college.
Okay. And I've played against women in pickup leagues, and they're very nice. I mean, some of them are incredible athletes.
They're very nice.
They are very nice, and they're incredible athletes. I'm just saying. I actually at Florida Southern I scrimmaged with the women's basketball team. They call, can you come in? You bring a couple guys and scrimmage with us, right? But you always had, as a guy, you always had to kind of make sure you weren't playing at 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you were, the fear was you'd hurt somebody.
100%.
Now, I played against women that basically probably looked at me and said, I'm slow down a little bit so I don't hurt you. Yeah. I mean, there's some great women athletes out there. There's some that play in the NBA, be pretty interesting, right?
In beach volleyball, I struggled. I played in co-ed beach volleyball leagues, and the ones that were ex-college volleyball players, they whooped my butt.
I played in a co-ed league and I wasn't any good and I got beat by everybody. So it didn't matter what gender they were.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just got beat. So, yeah.
Well, in swimming, boys and girls, we all practiced in the same pool.
Mm-hmm.
And you're organized by how fast you are. Weirdly enough, there were some all-boy lanes.
Yep.
I can't imagine why. And in the slow lanes, which is primarily where I was, it was mostly female. So, like, there are biological differences. When you're just going raw times, it's going to be males at the fastest times and females at the slower times. And that's just reality. And of course there's crossover. Of course there's men who can't swim. Of course there's chicks who are incredibly fast. But just looking at the extremes of the fastest of the fast, it's going to be male. That's just
Yeah.
reality.
Well, when you put it in we were talking about men's league or co-ed leagues, but when you put it in a sense of actual competition, actual competitiveness at the college level, at the pro level, you have to have it separated.
Mm-hmm.
Co-ed leagues at the St. Augustine Pier are fine, but when you're competing in weightlifting, boxing, volleyball at the highest level, basketball, football, any sport you name, there has to be the separation.
You guys remember Pooh Bear Williams?
No.
No.
Pooh Bear Williams was a running back for Florida State. Came out of Crescent City.
Okay.
Pooh Bear was a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the refrigerator of Crescent City's football team and basketball team. So there was a game, my younger brother, Rhett, had to cover Pooh Bear. Rhett was about 5'5", weighed about 95 pounds to 100 pounds. And Pooh Bear had him posted up in the post.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, please get out of the way. Please just don't get hurt. Because if he swings his arm, I have no idea what wall you're flying into. I have no idea the velocity, but I do know the impact is going to be painful.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Pooh Bear's, it was not a fair fight in that situation. Now, if you had put Rhett, one of the slowest runners I've ever seen in my life, next to Pooh Bear and said, run a mile, my money's on Rhett.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got Rhett beating Pooh Bear in the mile. But basketball in the low post, as a guy who's 250 or something, wrong guy to be down there.
My freshman year, when we played Nice, I was at St. Augustine High School. I had to cover Tim Tebow in the post. Like, can you imagine that? I'm 15 years old. I haven't even hit puberty yet. Mm-hmm. I'm just getting there. And I've got Tim Tebow who's squatting with the offensive line at Nice.
Was he squatting the entire offensive line or just a couple linemen?
Yeah, he was out squatting the whole offensive line. Okay. I mean, they had to tell him at Florida to chill out in the weight room because he was getting too big.
Yes.
Yeah, imagine my 15-year-old, I was like 5'11" at the time, guarding, Tebow, who's 6'1", 6'2", freaking monster. It was not a fair fight.
Not a fair fight.
No.
Not good.
And that's man on man.
Yes. Yeah. There's anytime you play certain sports or you do certain things, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you told me I got to compete in the NBA, I'm going to get crushed. Yeah. If you tell those NBA players you got to paddle out in Costa Rica double head,
they're going to get crushed.
They're going to get crushed.
Yep.
It just there's certain things you're good at, and there's certain things you train for, and you're good at those things.
Yep.
So yeah. So I'm glad that President Trump signed that. Women worked a long time for me to have their own sport.
Yep.
Yeah. And they should have their own sport. If you want to play in a co-ed league, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me one bit. But if you have a group of women who say, we want to be in a women's only sport, fine, then you should have that. So, yes. Yeah. Yep.
How about Elon Musk announced today that he wants the treasury to go entirely on the blockchain so it's transparent, as we talked about a couple episodes ago when we had Tommy Clark on.
Yep.
The transparency of crypto. He wants them to have all their transactions posted on the blockchain so the American people know exactly where every single government dollar is going.
What? Did you hear why they're upset with the Treasury Department? I don't know if you got the backstory of this.
Enlighten me. So
the backstory is they went and looked, and I've worked with different nonprofits, and we deal with different funding from the city and the county and the state, and you have to fill out forms.
Right.
And if the form isn't filled out exactly right, it comes back to you. You got to correct the form and fill it back out and send it back in again. Right. Common occurrence if you're trying to get funding from an agency is making sure that all the forms are right and all the documentation is right before they'll release the money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were employees in the Treasury Department, lifetime employees. That was their job at the Treasury Department, who had not one time sent a request back for additional information. Now, imagine that job. Honey, what are you going to do today? I'm approving whatever gets on my desk. Are you going to ask any questions? Nope. It all gets approved, every bit of it. Well, what if it's going to terrorism? That gets approved too, because I don't reject anything. I only got 20 more years, and I'm going to make them all without rocking the boat.
I didn't know Oprah Winfrey worked at the Treasury.
Yeah.
You get a check, and you get a check.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the banks during 2000, leading up to the 2008 market crash.
Levi, you came in for a house. Can we give you a loan on 7 more? Just go ahead and buy the other 6, and we're going to take care of it for you.
Exactly.
Or you go in for a loan for a modest house that costs like $140,000, and they're like, "Oh no, we can pre-approve you for $300,000." It's like, no, you can't,
girl. $140,000 house in St. Johns County is low income right now.
My first house was just under $140,000.
I'm just telling you.
And it was a low income house. I've been broke for a long time, y'all.
I had a chance back in 2000 and when did I graduate college? 2014. In 2014 to buy a house for like 170 grand. And I was like, nah, I don't want this house for that money. Now that exact same house, I just saw it recently on Zillow. It sold for like 390. And I was like, should have bought it when I had the chance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that anybody that's lived here in St. Augustine for a long time drives by property now and think, I could have bought that. 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 I should have bought. You'd have been half broke or mostly broke if you'd bought a couple of those things, but now you'd be mostly rich.
There's like 3 apartment complexes that I just watched forever on the market. And I was like, I wish I had the nut to be able to buy that and just passive income manage that. And that was my like dream stay at home with my kids plan. It didn't work out. I never had the money.
My dad moved here in 1962 and he had property on Volano Beach, right? On the beach, him and his horses. Okay. At this point in time, you had the stable that was on the beach.
That is a long time ago because he had land for horses on the beach.
Horses on the beach. He had one stable for them. The horses would get out the stable all the time, run up and down the beach. It wasn't that big of a deal. So he, my dad never drinks really. So he had some drinks and we're talking about his past or whatever. And I'm learning things because he's like, kind of opening up a little bit. Loosening up a little bit.
Feels like you're finally old enough to handle the truth.
Yeah. So he tells me.
He finally feels like you're old enough to handle the truth. And he wants to tell you the truth.
So he shows me where the property is, right? And I'm like, there's 6 houses on that used to be one piece of land. And I'm like, dang, Dad. I'm glad that you got divorced and married my mom and had me, but like, imagine if you never got divorced and you were able to keep that land.
Oh, dude. That hurts.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. The property value in St. Johns County is
insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So speaking of that, there was a issue before the county commission. So you guys familiar with concurrency fees?
I'm not.
So a concurrency fee, and they were waived a few years ago to help spur commercial growth. So there's commercial growth and residential growth when you look at growth within a county. Our county has been out of balance for forever because we have way too much residential growth.
Okay.
So if you looked at the number of properties that are paying property tax, 90+% of them are residential, which means we're completely dependent upon the residential market for our taxable income off of ad valorem taxes. We just don't have enough commercial properties. Back in when Tom Manuel, before he got arrested and sent away, was a county commissioner, was at a meeting with him, with everybody else. It wasn't a private meeting. And he was discussing how much volume you would have to do in commercial growth over the residential growth, right? You not just this much, not even with it, but over it
to level it out,
to move the needle 1%. It was astronomical back then. That's before all of this residential growth. So we need the commercial growth. You need to kind of balance out your ad valorem taxes. And you also need places for people to go that are closer to their home so they're not driving all over the place, clogging up the roads. So they did away with concurrency. And the concurrency fee was based on a traffic count. How many trips are you going to generate? And then you're going to pay that into a fund that goes to fix the roads and do everything. Well, that got waived. The current group of county commissioners, some of them said, hey, we'd like to bring that back and we want to review it. And maybe we need to implement this again. It failed in a workshop on a 3-2 vote.
Okay.
Right. According to Christian Whitehurst, and I don't have his math. I don't know his math. Our chairwoman disagreed with his math. Krista Joseph Keating disagreed with the math. Krista Keating Joseph. So Commissioner Joseph, but he said like the new V Pizza on US 1 would have had to pay $4.4 million in additional fees just to open. So what that does is you have a small business and a medium-sized business that just says, we can't open. We can't afford the fees. We're not going to open.
Yeah.
It doesn't slow down a Walmart. It doesn't slow down a Costco. So when people say we're trying to make big boxes pay, I've said this for 35 years that I've been in the construction industry. When I first started with my dad in the late 80s, we constantly built 5,000 square foot buildings for local small businesses. We don't do that anymore. Yeah. We don't do one because the small business can't afford the land. It can't afford the development cost. The building's a small part of it, but it can't afford the land and the development cost, which have skyrocketed. You used to do civil engineering for $5,000 a job. Now that civil engineering is probably $50,000 or $60,000 a job. Site work used to be $50,000. Now site work might be $500,000. So it's those costs. And the owner would come to us and go, well, how much is it going to cost to do the building? Well, until you pay $100,000 out of pocket, I can't tell you the cost because you got to go through the review process.
Nice.
So that shut down a large majority of small businesses that were trying to open. They've now have been forced to buy buildings that are on the market or lease space from somebody who can afford to build a bigger commercial development and rent out multiple tenant spaces. It hasn't stopped a Walmart.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped a Target. It hasn't stopped any of these other stores.
It did stop Olive Garden. I wanted that Olive Garden to come, and they teased it numerous times.
I thought the Olive Garden was coming.
It did do much for me. It did do much for me. So here's the secret of that is all of those companies work in California.
Yeah.
They work in New York.
They
work in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So when you show them a fee that in St. Augustine is $4.4 million, they laugh. They go, it's $40 million in California.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating the numbers,
right?
But it's far higher than what it is here.
Yeah.
So they look at it and go, we'll just pass that along to the customer. Yeah. So St. Johns County residents pay all of these fees. The businesses don't. You might get the money to go ahead and build your road, but the residents pay additional costs until the company says, okay, we've got that taken care of at the store. We're good. So I get that you're trying to pay for roads and you're trying to do that, but you got to find a way to do that doesn't cripple the one entity that you desperately need to balance out your ad valorem tax.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I'm a low tax guy, but you're getting, every year, St. Johns County gets a huge increase in ad valorem taxes. Eddie Creamer at Tuesday's meeting, I forget the number, it's astronomical, the additional amount of residential property that comes online for ad valorem tax this year because it was finished in 2024. And you look at that and the additional money the county gets, at some point in time, the county's got to go, we got to take a chunk of that for a few years and throw that into a road fund. And that's how we need to figure out how to budget this.
Yeah.
So I got a question then I'm assuming every county has this, right? Across the state of Florida, they go through the same process.
Yep.
With everything becoming digitalized, we see a drastic drop in commercial real estate, right? Because a company that sells pinball machines. I'm saying this because I know a guy here in town that does this. He sells 95% of his pinball machines online. He basically has a warehouse space that he rents out just to keep the product, right?
Yep.
So with everything going online, how do you balance that out between the commercial and residential? There's got to be some kind of plan there because all we're going to see is more and more companies open up online and not need these commercial properties,
which is horrible for people that are in the commercial construction business, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
Office space and what I thought would happen has happened when they started doing remote work in 2020. Everyone's like, oh, this is the savior. And I said, this will change. Give it about 5 or 6 years because when they all start to come back, the people that manage the lower tier are the middle managers. Well, if they find out they don't need the middle managers, they'll get rid of the middle managers, which I think they did to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, if we got rid of the middle managers and all these people are done by them, do we need all these higher level managers? And the higher level managers are now realizing, holy crap, we got to get these people back in the office so we can manage them.
We need to manage people.
We need to manage people. So when you look at that, there's a lot of
many
companies
office space seats
that are now saying we got to get back.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. Maybe the banks have adjusted for it, but you have sky rises in these larger big cities, New York, San Francisco, that are basically a ghost town right now. Because all these companies have said, well, yeah, we used to rent 100,000 square feet from you, but we only need 25,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And we'd like to get out of our lease. Or we went bankrupt and we're not going to pay the lease. And so there are a couple buildings in San Francisco that have been handed back to the city. Yeah. The developer just said, here you go. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, I know in New York, a lot of those sky rises you're talking about, the mafia and stuff are buying them and using them as like a haven to hide their money. I don't know about San Francisco so much, but I know that that's happening a lot in New York, especially like the high-rise apartment buildings. They're just buying the building because it's empty.
Yep.
There's no one there ever. And they're just hiding millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in this asset.
Are they claiming that there's people there?
They're claiming that there's people there. Yeah. But you can go out there
How
at
do
night.
you get that many people there that pay cash?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
That's
I'm
what I'm
just
saying.
asking. I just didn't know how.
You
I don't mean
only
anything.
rent
I
to
think,
cash
I think
payers.
it's a brilliant plan for those of you that are involved in it. I think it's amazing.
Well, Patrick
Not
Bet-David
judging.
had on one of these geopolitical guys. I can't think of his name right now, but he does high-end real estate construction in China and stuff. And he was explaining this about how they're doing this in New York, and they're using it as this like billionaire. They can hide billions of dollars in this building. They claim that it's an overseas account, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with these New York skyscrapers, massive apartment buildings with maybe 3 people in them.
Okay.
Good gracious.
So I don't see, like, I kind of disagree with you on the fact that I understand that they want to get people back in the office, but people aren't going to go back to the office. People liked that they were home. They were able to knock their emails out before 1 p.m., take their kid to soccer practice now without having to leave work or hire a nanny to do it. The work from home space is just blowing up. If you go on Indeed.com, everything says remote work or hybrid work.
I'm just simply telling you, it's coming back. I watch these cycles and I watch this stuff. I give you the example in St. Johns County. Every few years they would go, you know what? It's too hard to get from Ponte Vedra to St. Augustine. It's too hard to get from the Northwest. And this was before we had growth. This is when there was 120,000 people in the county. So they built annexes so it was closer to the people. And then one day they said, you know what? It's too hard to manage the annex and manage the office. We're bringing them all back in. And then you'll have annexes pop back up again because all of a sudden you go, you know, we had an annex 25 years ago here and there's 10 times as much traffic now. We get there. The only thing that's stopping some of that is you can do so much stuff online. I do agree with that. I mean, some of the stuff that's online will slow that down, but you're still going to see people back in the office.
Yeah.
People like to be next to people to work.
I agree with you that I think it's a good thing. I think that, you know, you shouldn't be working from home and be completely digitalized. I think that the human to human interaction is a key core component of just humans biologically in nature.
And that's why I think a lot of people are opting for in-person work rather than at home. The ones that have the freedom to do it. Like I have to do a fair amount of what I do from home just because of my situation, homeschooling mom. But people that don't have that pressure on them and can work in an office, they're really seeing their mental health deteriorate, being so isolated and feeling so alone that they're looking for an office to work in.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it coming back, but you know, it is interesting. The other thing I think that I thought would happen after COVID, if larger companies were smart, they had these huge centers where you had 5,000 people working in it, and then you go, well, the best thing to do if you have a situation where people are getting sick is not to have 5,000 people in an office, but to maybe have a main office with 2,000, and then you take those 3,000 and you put them in 6 smaller locations spread out around the city, and then if one office goes down, the other ones are still working. They're still running. So I mean, when I look at some of that, I don't know why people didn't do that. So yes.
Diversify.
Yes, Barbara Jean, federal workers must be back to work. I think Monday's the day.
That's
a
the
day
thing.
coming up. It's either Friday or Monday. And if they don't show up, they're just going to get terminated.
Elon Musk being in Doge, he was one of the first major employers that said, okay, work from home is over. Back in the office or you're fired. And now he's implementing that in the federal government.
Even during COVID, he was like, we have to get people back in the office. He was one of the biggest advocates for...
He said he would pay fines if anyone got hassled or anything.
Yeah. He was one of the biggest advocates for people being back in the office. People just work together. They work better together. I mean, when you're working over email, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all dealt with it where you send an email out and you need a response kind of right then and it doesn't come back until 9 a.m. the next morning and then nothing gets done for a day. And...
like someone misinterprets what you intend to say because it's in writing and you don't have nuance and tone. And then it creates a whole conversation that never needed to happen just because someone read into text something, attitude that wasn't there.
Right.
And it just becomes a whole other thing.
Are you giving me attitude right now?
Always.
Are you giving me attitude?
Always giving you attitude,
I
sir.
can't tell if you're giving me attitude right now.
100% of the time.
That was very sassy. All right. So Pam Bondi, speaking of attitude, Pam Bondi sworn in today. She said she's going to establish the Weaponization Working Group, which will review the activities of all law enforcement agencies over the past 4 years to identify instances of politicized justice. What could that mean? Well, this is what it means. It's a good question I asked myself. Yeah. The working group's first reviews will include prosecutions against Trump, led by former special counsel Jack Smith, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and New York Attorney Letitia James, who brought civil fraud cases against Trump and his family. So if there was coordination between the prior administration and these guys trying to keep Donald Trump from running, I believe Pam Bondi has what it takes.
I want to find it.
To find it.
I want to find out.
Yes. It is going to be, I don't know how much got shredded, but the internet never forgets. So
I've heard people from the USAID office talking about how, they found out Doge was coming to the office, and so they hid their pride flags and they grabbed any books that might be incriminating and threw them in the desk drawers. Like, these people are straight up saying, I'm hiding the agenda I'm trying to push in my office so that I can't get found out, so that I can stay in my position and continue to push the agenda. Like, they're saying it. This is not, I mean, all of these people announced that they were going after Trump for the express purpose of getting him behind bars so he could never run again. They all said it on MSNBC and CNN. This isn't going to be a hard prosecution.
So if Elon Musk was given a list of names, could he cross-reference those to Twitter accounts, go back through the history and see just what those people may or may not have said on Twitter about policies and about things? And could he not also write an algorithm or have his programmers write an algorithm that says anybody that is, far left or far right or whatever, and pop those people up into a list where you could go read it? It's not hard, people. You're giving away information every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving away information on myself every single day. We're talking about ourselves online. It's all out.
That reminds me of a conspiracy that I'll talk to you about after the show, because I don't want to just drop a bomb live on air. And then we can talk about whether or not you want to talk about it on the air.
That's a wise decision if you want to keep your job.
See, I'm learning things.
But that's a good point.
That was me bossing there. That was me bossing. Yep. Yes.
That's a good point you brought up, though, because people don't realize that they're just giving all their data away.
All day long.
And that
100%.
It just like kind of flies by the wayside because everyone's using their iPhone. They're they're using this app for food. They're using this app for this, yada, yada. It is literally a war over who can gather the most data.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell people about Tesla. And people are like, oh, it's a car company. I'm like, no, Tesla's a data company. That every single Tesla on the road is relaying information back to their data centers and they're all communicating with each other. They are gathering data.
Cybernet.
They are gathering data. Data is the new gold rush. And I see it, for example, I run an online subscription sports company, and we get approached by companies that want us to use their marketplace. They're going to set our storefront up, promote us, do all this for free. They're not doing it for free. They say it's for free. They're doing it because they want our users' data. That's why they're doing it, because they know if we bring our customers to their marketplace, they get all that data. And that in the digital world, the digital empire that we live in today, that's what makes money.
Surveillance capitalism is what it is called. Surveillance. We are all under surveillance, so somebody else can make capital over the decisions that we make. All I have to do is mention a brand, and it will pop up the next day in my feed. I don't have to like the brand. I don't have to want to buy the brand. But if I mention the brand, it'll pop up in my feed.
100%. I'm still getting Ice Pod ads from the day you told me you were going to buy an Ice Pod.
Well, now you're getting more.
If it's free, you're the product.
I bought the Ice Pod, and I'm still getting their ads. Yeah. They're sending me emails. Have you bought your Ice Pod yet? I'm like, do you guys not cross-reference your own surveillance capitalism stuff?
Marketing and sales need to talk.
Yeah. I love the Ice Pod. I'll be in the Ice Pod tonight.
Yeah, I make a daily ice bath video, and my feed is nothing but ice baths. And I'm like, guys, don't you hear that I made my own ice bath? I don't need to buy yours. Yeah. I built my own.
Well, keep sending it to him until he gets one.
I think the algorithm's getting desperate because I've talked about it so much. Yeah. We already own one. They're now sending me other brands as well as Ice Pod. So now it's just Ice Pod and all their competitors on my feed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No. I listen, it's funny as all get out. There's certain things I try not to mention. One of the best things, it was a surfer a few years ago, and he's like, hey, guys, I want to tell you a secret. If you want your wife to get you a surf trip, this is what you do. And he went to her phone, picked it up, and said, surf trip in the Meadows, surf trip to Costa Rica, surf trip to Puerto Rico, surfboards for Tommy, right? And wife's
Yep.
going to get every one of those messages.
Yep.
That
Every
is
ad.
how you do that.
It's the modern digital equivalent to Ralphie in A Christmas Story sliding in those Red Ryder ads into his mom's women's magazines.
Yes.
It's great.
There were mom's women's magazines in it.
Like actual women's magazines.
I know
Not
what
girly
they were.
magazines.
No, that was his dad. He would never slip them in there
Yeah.
because his dad didn't want him to have the gun because
Yeah.
he'd shoot his eye out.
No, his dad wanted him to have it.
Oh, the mom didn't want him to shoot his
Yes.
eye out.
That's why the subversive advertising.
Like my mom, if she read an article about some poor kid having something bad happen to them halfway around the world, we weren't allowed to do that thing, even if we couldn't do it here in the United States.
My mom went to that same party.
Yeah, I don't want you to get hurt. I read about this in the paper. I'm not that kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for you guys.
Mhm.
Do you think that Trump's administration is going to abolish federal income tax?
I hope so.
It would be nice, but I don't know how he gets the money to do it. But right now they're on a run, right? So I'm kind of curious in about a month if someone says, "Hey, Trump has cut $2 trillion from spending.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Trump has cut $3 trillion."
Mhm.
If he starts to get to the trillions
Mm-hmm.
in the first 3 months of him being in office, I'm going to be really impressed,
Mhm.
right? If he cuts $4 trillion out of the budget, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
They were talking about this on Gutfeld last night, and Kat Temp, who's more of a libertarian,
Mhm.
she's like, look, what they're doing at USAID is perfect. Now do the same thing at the Pentagon.
Department
Now
of
do
Education.
the same thing at the Pentagon. And I don't disagree with that. I think every department in the government is bloated.
Mhm.
There's wasteful spending in it. There's no incentive to find the wasteful spending.
Yep.
And no one has checked it in an eternity.
Since
So-
it started.
Yeah, so let's go. Let's get this stuff done.
Yep.
Let's get some money out of this every single time. And I tell the story. If you'd asked in 2006, do you think you're running a very efficient company? I said, we have nothing that's wasted.
Mm-hmm.
When the economy crashed in 2008, I can tell you a lot of things that we should have never bought in 2006 when I thought we were really thin. So yeah 100%.
What happened?
Okay, I have a question too. This is kind of more for my own knowledge. I keep seeing all this stuff about the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Have you heard about this?
I've heard the Sovereign Wealth Fund, but I don't remember what I heard about it.
Yeah. What is a sovereign wealth fund? Apparently other nations have a sovereign wealth fund. The UAE has a large one. I think they have the largest one. China has one.
I honestly do not know. And I would tell you if the Chinese tell you they have anything in capital, I would tell you it's a house of cards.
Okay.
I think the entire Chinese economy is a house of cards. I don't know when it falls apart because they're propping it up. But it's not the Chinese are fighting against a population bomb that is going off that they created in the 1970s and 80s with a one child per family policy. And they're all men.
I have
They
the
killed the women and they're all men.
International Forum of Sovereign Wealth Funds definition for what is a sovereign wealth fund, if you want it.
I would love it.
A sovereign wealth fund, it's three.
Wait a minute. Can you do this in normal speak and not girl economics?
No, not at all.
So if you see sale in there, we know you're gone, right?
Misogyny is a cornerstone of this show. Okay. Get with the program.
Yep. Levi's favorite part is that I get talked down to. Okay, 3 key characteristics of a sovereign wealth fund. A sovereign wealth fund is owned by the general government, which includes both central government and subnational governments. 2, includes investments in foreign financial assets. And 3, they invest for financial objectives. These key elements exclude public pension funds, which are ultimately owned by the underlying policyholders, and central bank reserve assets, which are not invested. So that's what they're saying a sovereign wealth fund is.
Nice.
Yeah.
That told me absolutely nothing.
Yes. A lot of doublespeak.
I asked you to explain it in a normal way, and you just went on and did it your own way, didn't you?
I did it their way. I did the sources way. It's right there. It's right there. Everyone can see it.
I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's one of that. I'll have to bring somebody in or call somebody that I know that's an economics person and talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm not sure they'll be able to explain it to me in a way that I can deconstruct it. So give me a couple of days to research it. You come back next week, I'll have it.
Much
Okay,
like the
awesome.
blockchain. Still confused about the blockchain.
I can break down the blockchain for you right now. What do you need to know? I can break it down in layman's
It's
terms.
transparent. Everybody knows what it is,
Yes.
and I don't know how you get money in
I
or out
know
of it.
it's supposedly transparent and everyone can see it. I also know that it's somehow protected from the grid going down with localized wallets.
Yep.
That's about all I know.
Do you want me to elaborate
ahead.
on what it is? Okay, so there's actually a really good Netflix documentary on it. You've seen the thing on Netflix called Explained, right? Where it's like little 20-minute episodes.
Yeah.
They do one on the blockchain. If you don't know, if you're confused about what the blockchain is, I would recommend watching that.
Okay.
It does get a little wordy sometimes, but they have diagrams on the screen like you're a kid. So I do well with visual learning.
Yeah, me too.
So diagrams are great for me.
Yeah.
So basically what the blockchain is it's code, right? It's code, and you have actual block codes that look like hexagons, and they bounce code off of everything that's attached to the internet.
Okay.
So that's how it stays protected. That it's like if someone wanted to triangulate my location and I was able to bounce my server off everything on the black market, you can't trace it.
Yeah.
That's what the
Because
blockchain.
it's everywhere, but nowhere.
But nowhere. That's what the blockchain does in real time, and that's how it prevents itself from being hacked.
Okay.
As far as the
Because if you hack it in one server, it's protected on another.
protected on another, exactly.
Or another dozen.
Exactly. So you can't manipulate the code in it, right? But it's transparent for everyone to see. And by that, it means I wish I remember the name of the website, but I can basically go on this website and it tracks all blockchain transactions, and I can see which wallet sends which stuff where. Now, you don't know who owns that individual wallet. It just has a wallet address.
Okay. So
Now, if
they're
the Treasury
anonymous.
Department if they want to go blockchain, they come out and they go, this is the Treasury Department's wallet address, then we would know that's their wallet address.
It's kind of like if you know what code Elon Musk's private jet is, you can see where he's traveling.
Exactly. See,
Okay.
good. Exactly.
Okay.
See, we're getting more.
We're getting somewhere.
I'm
Okay.
going to explain to y'all what I heard. What I heard is my money's going in the internet, and then I ain't ever going to see it again. That's what I heard.
no,
if I can keep it in my hands, I got my money. But when it goes in the internet, it's going off some chain of blocks, and I'm never going to see that Lego thing again.
No,
I'm just kidding.
you sound like my dad. That's how my dad is about it. But like,
I do old people really well. I do it every day, Monday through Thursday
You're the
from 5 to 6. Tune in. I'll be here for the rest of the year, folks.
You're the young man, old person translator. Is that it?
well, like for example, right? My entire bank account is on the blockchain.
Okay.
So I have a regular account with Truist, and there's $5 in that account, and I know when my bills are coming out, and I transfer my money from the blockchain to the bank account to pay the bills. But as long as it's on the blockchain, looking at the past 10 years of assets, I mean, Bitcoin has outperformed any asset class. So while the dollar is deflating, if it was sitting in my bank account, it would be deflating in real time. It's actually inflating in real time, gaining value, growing in value. Are there days where it goes down 0.5%? Yeah. But over a long period of time, my money is gaining value.
Nice.
So that's why I'm completely digitalized. That was my goal in 2025, was to take all my assets and completely digitalize them. And everything but my house is pretty much digitalized. So it's the future. Everyone knows.
I like that one word, diversify. That's my only, when I'm investing, I like to be in a lot of different places. So
We got 10 minutes. Do you want to do 5 questions?
yes, we are going to do 5 questions. Have you ever done 5 questions with us?
I have not, but one more thing before we get to the 5 questions.
Go ahead.
Did you see the press conference, the White House press conference about crypto yesterday?
No.
Okay. So basically what they came out and said was, yes, we realize that everything is going digital. We know that everything in the economy so far has become digitalized. It's referenced to VCRs are now streaming websites, all this stuff, right? They said, we understand that the financial institutions are going to become digitalized and everything's going to head that direction. What we're worried about doing in our first 90 days is educating the new members of Congress that don't understand the blockchain on how it works. So then we can all make a fair, assessment of it and then implement bills that allow us to regulate it correctly.
Does blockchain work right now?
Yeah.
You're going to give it to Congress?
It's
not
broken.
gonna work?
I'm just going to tell you.
It's broken.
Based on the track record that Congress has for things that work before they got to regulate them, They don't work as well after they regulate.
Well, we'll see what. I
just
guess we'll see what
telling
happens.
ya,
They need to
has
use-
nothing to do with blockchain. It has everything to do with Congress.
They need to use most of that time educating the old members of Congress on blockchain. The new members probably know more than the old members.
Well, first of all, let me explain to you. They've got to explain to what some of the old members of Congress to get rid of their abacus and actually use a calculator.
Some of them don't know what
Some-
an ATM is.
They don't. Some of them have no idea. Oh, they do know what an ATM is. It's called the Treasury Department.
Automatic teller
It's
machine.
also called insider trading for them. That's an ATM.
Was it Mendez that just found out about that? Bob
Yeah,
Mendez?
Bob Goldbar Mendez.
Yeah.
Bob Goldbar Mendez.
I heard he wept. And for a change, he didn't have $100 bills in his pockets to dry his tears.
No, not a good thing. Not a good thing. All right, we have
All right,
five questions.
5 questions.
And if we have time, we have one question for Levi.
Oh, okay.
So 6 questions for Levi.
Let's start with 5 plus 1. Let's do favorite shampoo. That was your question suggestion. What is your favorite shampoo, gentlemen?
My current favorite shampoo or my
You
favorite
just
shampoo?
buzzed your hair off, so you don't need it.
My current favorite shampoo or my favorite shampoo for life?
Both, either.
Okay, my current favorite shampoo is called Dr. Squash.
Dr. Squash.
Yep, it is a 100% all natural charcoal based shampoo.
Very masculine.
Very masculine.
advertising.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think my flavor is, or my smell flavor, I guess you could call it, is bourbon.
Yeah.
I hope it's
Mike
not.
sold.
Yeah, I hope it's not a flavor because I don't want anyone biting my hair. But yeah, the smell is, my girl loves it. But yeah, I'm all for none of those nasty chemicals that are in it. And yeah. So Dr. Squash,
Dr. Squash.
all natural shampoo.
You?
Me. So Kizzy at Lux Japanese Hair Spa got me on a Japanese shampoo called Milbon. So I'm using a bougie shampoo right now, trying it out, see how I like it. So far, I'm enjoying it a lot.
And I've gone to a complete mental block. I can see the picture of it and everything.
Pert Plus.
No. I will tell you.
Selsun Blue.
No, I don't.
Head and Shoulders.
I've never used any of those. I've not, fortunately, had that problem. There was an old shampoo called Finesse.
Yeah.
And it came out in the 80s. It was great.
I remember Finesse.
It's so hard to find it now.
Yeah.
But if I see that in the store, I'm like, if there's 4 of them there, I'm buying all 4 of them. So
Nice.
I'm trying to think. There's a set of shampoo and stuff for guys. I'm looking it up right now. Everyman Jack.
Oh,
That's
great.
it.
Everyman
Everyman Jack is great.
I'd love that. Their shampoo right now. That's the closest I've found to the Finesse shampoo. That's the closest.
So
one.
Everyman Jack is great too because they limit the chemicals in theirs as much as they possibly can to still make it do its job.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
We've got some Super Bowl themed questions as well. What is your dream halftime show? Barbara Jean's, it's Prince. It's Prince for Barbara Jean. What is your dream halftime
My
show?
dream halftime show? Oh, God. If I don't say this, because my friends sometimes watch, they'll kill me. So I'm just going to say this. I'll go with Bryan Adams. Because they all know I was a huge Bryan Adams fan growing up. I mean, back then, Bryan Adams. Today,
Did he ever do that? The Super Bowl?
no,
halftime?
he wasn't big enough to do the Super Bowl. If you're looking at, I love Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
He's good. I think he was in a bit of one maybe a few years ago, but Chris
cameo.
Stapleton and Brothers Osborne would be great. So
Yeah.
Mine would be Drake or Wiz Khalifa.
Drake or Wiz Khalifa?
Jelly Roll would also be
Jelly
really
Roll.
good. Jelly Roll
Actually,
would
I
be
changed it.
amazing.
Jelly Roll. Jelly
would be
Roll.
Great. Yeah.
Jelly
Currently,
Roll.
it would probably be Jelly Roll. I think so. He's a great showman. I don't know how happy the vast majority of people would be, but Harry Connick Jr. is such a fun showman. And the Super Bowl's in New Orleans. It would have been so cool if Harry Connick Jr. was the halftime show.
So I'm looking at it, and that's an awesome one because he's amazing. But there's a bunch of people that had Toby Keith, who's passed away, and we had
sad.
Prince who passed away, right?
Mhm.
So wouldn't it be amazing if you're going back old school, someone who passed away who never got to do one?
Yeah.
Elvis Presley in his prime
That would have been
would
wild.
have been a bomb.
That would have been good.
Of a halftime show.
The
Tupac.
stadium,
Tupac would have been great.
Stadium would have
Tupac
been
and Elvis
trampled.
would have been even better.
Yeah, I like that. They have the AI holograms now. We can bring them all back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do all the greats.
Yep.
So they've been on a kick with the rappers. Jay-Z's involved with picking the halftime show these days. So it's like all rappers now. And
That's just a young
kinda
culture.
over it.
That's the
Kinda
young
over the
culture.
rap.
Yeah. I mean, Kendrick Lamar is going to perform his Not Like Us song that won all the Grammys. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch the award shows anymore. No one does.
Yeah.
Kathy, Jelly Roll is an amazing Christian artist who's got a really good back. So if you don't like him, I know you don't like him, but do a little research on his life and where he came from and his faith.
He has a really cool story.
He's got a really cool story.
He started off as a rapper.
That's how I found him, was the fact that I knew he was faith-based. So if you don't know that side of him, look that up. You can still not like his music, but at least understand what he's gone through and what he's singing about in a lot of his songs.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody save me.
You're going to get his copyright struck. Okay. Favorite Super Bowl snacks? Are you salty? Are you sweet? What do you like to eat?
You go first, because I got the answer for this one. So you go first.
All right. For me, I'm a chips and dip girl. I like queso and chips. But also wings are a big one. It's just hard to like get good wings at a Super Bowl party.
Well, we don't live in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's true. And they're not going to the Super Bowl. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, Susan Johnson. We're really sorry.
So my favorite Super Bowl snacks are either pigs in a blanket or my mom's ham sliders.
Are yours saucy? Your pigs in the blanket?
No, there
are some people that like barbecue sauce them up, and it's just not okay.
I like dipping mine in my own sauce.
Yeah,
my own fancy sauce mixture.
Ooh, pink sauce, Mike Davis.
Yes, 100%. I can do that for you. So we sat at lunch today, Darcy and I, and we were talking about what do you want to do Sunday night? Do you want to cook out? Do you want to do that? And we're kind of rolling through some stuff. And then I threw out the one thing that I knew is probably going to be a yes. So I kind of like saved it towards the end. I'm like, you want to do homemade nachos? Yes. She's done, sold. So I know it's more of a snack and a meal at the same, but we're doing some nachos. So.
Yeah.
Okay, next
some
question.
Good nachos with some hot jalapenos.
Hot jalapenos. Yep. All right, booze or nah? If you do like booze, what are you drinking? I guess what are you drinking regardless?
I'm a bourbon guy.
You're a bourbon guy.
So I would have bourbon and sit and watch, but it's Sunday night.
You don't do like themed cocktails for events?
Yeah, I do bourbon in a different glass. I do a different rack of ice, but yeah, I'm just but it's just kind of a simple, I make a really good margarita and occasionally I'll drink those, but
I bet you do make a good
margarita. I'm telling you, I got a recipe
How much
that I got a
daddle's
long
in it?
time. There's no daddle in it, but it's amazing. So
right,
so I used to drink a lot of whiskey ginger. But since
Crown ginger guy?
Since Happy Dads came out, I only drink Happy Dads.
Yeah. And that's
Happy
like
Dads.
a CBD infused booze alternative, isn't it?
No. It's a seltzer.
Okay.
It's a grain alcohol seltzer that has electrolytes in it.
Nice.
Great on the golf course. Great for a Sunday night. I could drink a 12-pack of Happy Dads to myself, feel great while I'm doing it, and then not be hungover the next morning.
That's nice. I need to introduce you to a supplement.
As a mom of 3 on a budget, I'm banking you're drinking whatever's free.
Whatever's free. Yes, that is a correct answer. I'm a vodka soda girl. I'll spring for the limes for something like Super Bowl. I like to pre-juice them. I have a little tiny square ice cube tray, and one tiny square is perfect for a vodka soda. It's great. Love it.
Great questions, by the way.
Thank you. So can you read Roman numerals? What does that say?
That says that's a 50. Then it's a 10 on the end, and the 1 is a minus. So it's 59.
59. So that is the Super Bowl this year. That's the logo, and that's the year. I didn't show you that one because I knew you would know it as soon as I
do you guys know the color conspiracy with the Super Bowl?
The color is red and yellow.
Yep.
So that meant that they already knew that the Chiefs are going to win.
Correct.
Had it been green of any color, then the Philadelphia Eagles would have won.
There is green.
So crazy, because I do sports betting and I teach people how to sports bet. Crazy statistic in the sports betting community that I personally am not going to use this statistic to decide my bet, but a team in the past 15 years, a team that has traveled from west to east is 1 in 14 in the Super Bowl. And the team traveling east to west is 14-1.
Wow, that's wild.
Weird stat.
There is green in the logo. I zoomed in. There is a green stripe nestled amongst the yellow.
That's like a Seahawk lime.
That's green, and there's blue.
I mean, the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl.
So for the record, though, that stat during the regular season is completely upside down. During the regular season, East Coast teams that travel west do horrible out west, regardless of what the record is.
Yeah, how crazy is that, though?
Yes.
I'll never use that to bet on. I mean, the way I look at it is like at this point, if you're betting against Patrick Mahomes, that's like betting against Michael Jordan in the 90s. You can't do that.
So Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs versus the Buccaneers, right? My boys, Reese and Ethan, will put a little bit of side bets on these games and stuff. And so both of them look at each other and they go, all right, we're gonna take the Chiefs. Mahomes comes running out. They feel great. They're like high-fiving each other. We're going to win this bet on the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are going to win. And then Brady comes out. And they looked at him and their shoulders slumped. They looked at each other and they went, we just bet against him.
Yep.
And sure enough, Brady won. But it's just like, how could we bet against him? Today, it's the same way. You can't bet against Mahomes.
No, you can't bet against him.
He's undefeated in the playoffs when he needs to score at the end of the game.
8-0.
So, yeah, I would not bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, was that 5 questions?
That was 5 questions. I've got a couple of like random trivia if you're interested.
I'm interested.
Hang on. You got 30 seconds to a minute to explain the Lakers trade with the Mavs.
Go. Okay. If you guys don't follow sports, the Mavericks and the Lakers did what I call a blindside trade. It never happens in sports, especially at this magnitude. The Dallas Mavericks took their 25-year-old superstar, all-NBA first team player for the past 4 years he's been in the league, and they traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers for a 13-year veteran, and their reasoning was they think that they need defense and they can win now. Now, what's interesting about this trade, biggest trade in sports history, by the way, that they didn't shop around their 25-year-old superstar to see what they could get from the rest of the league. It infuriated owners. It infuriated GMs. The players didn't know about it. The coaches didn't know about it. It happened at midnight our time, off the books, behind the scenes.
Sounds like a Democratic nomination. That's what
literally,
this sounds like.
Literally behind, and it took the NBA by storm. No one knew what happened. Players were shocked. Like no one knew what to say. But yeah, it's interesting. So Anthony Davis went to the Mavericks. Luka Doncic, who's the 25-year-old superstar, came to the Lakers. And the Lakers basically just secured their future for the next 10 years, barring any bad injuries, for basically next to nothing. I mean, it's a wild trade that makes no sense.
And wildly popular in Dallas, Luka was. But supposedly there were rumors, one of the stories I heard, and this is just a story. I don't believe it's true. I don't know it's true. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what I heard. He was out of shape. He wasn't in good shape. And my son Reese, who's a huge Lakers fan, is like, it doesn't matter if he comes off the plane at 2:30. Just give him the ball. He's scoring buckets.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't matter how much Luka weighs. He's scoring buckets.
That's what they told the public. Now, here's an unpopular, because I have a little bit of inside information on the NBA. Here's an opinion that hasn't really been popularized. But Mark Cuban sold his majority share of the Mavericks to a family out of Las Vegas, right?
Yep.
And this family, I don't know if you're familiar with them. I can't remember their name right now, but they've built casinos. That's what they've built their entire billions on. And their whole reasoning for buying Mark Cuban's share of the Mavericks was so that they could turn that stadium into a one-stop shop where there's a casino there, there's basketball, there's sports bars, all these things. Well, the city of Dallas shut that down. They were like, no, you're not doing that. So what I'm hearing in the shadows in the NBA is that they are purposely tanking this team so that they can either, 1, move them to Austin so they can build their casino, or 2, move them to Vegas and bring them out to Vegas and build it out there. So they are purposely tanking the team to do that.
Conspiracy
It's so much money to have screw you money to be able to buy a franchise and then tank it.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of money.
Wasn't that the Major League premise?
Yes.
The movie Major League?
Yes. Which brings up an incredible poster. If you guys remember, there was a motivational poster that they used. It was fantastic.
We're not on a time thing anymore, right? So can you ask the other trivia questions? Because I like trivia.
Come on, let's go. I actually have extra time tonight as well.
All right. So the first 2 editions of the championship, the Super Bowl game, were called the World Championship Game between the American Football League and the National Football League. Very long name, not very catchy. Which team's founder suggested the name Super Bowl after a toy his kids called Super Ball?
I want to say it was the Kansas City Chiefs owner.
I'm going to say the Oakland Raiders.
It's Kansas City Chiefs owner. The founder of the Kansas City Chiefs in 1970.
I was alive then. That's why I knew the answer.
because his kids called a toy in Super Ball. It's so random.
Super Ball was
Super
a
Ball.
rubber ball that you could bounce a mile in the air. If you bounced it really hard one time outside, you might not ever see it again. It would go down the street so fast, it would go down a drain inlet before you could catch up.
Well, thank you for changing the name, because now I use the term, I'm taking the Browns to the Super Bowl all the time.
Yes.
Nice. So I asked you about the Roman numerals because I thought this was interesting. Do you know why they started naming the Super Bowls with Roman numerals?
Why they started it? I'm going to say the second Super Bowl, I think, was played in the Coliseum out in Los Angeles. And I'm just going to say it has something to do with the connection to the Coliseum.
I mean, it has something to do with the connection to the Romans, right? It has to.
So during the first 5 games, they used the year that the games were played in as the number to delineate it. And then they decided to avoid confusion. They moved to Roman numerals.
To avoid confusion.
To avoid confusion.
Because Americans are just so diverse in Roman numeral.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Well, it's good for me
Hilarious.
because you can flash any number up there. I was born in 66.
Yeah.
So I know, I mean, the Super Bowl happened before I was born, but I know that I'm going to be that old in that year. So I can look at any Roman numeral and figure it out by knowing how old I am. Like, yep, I got that one. So, yes.
And you said you had an extra question for me?
Oh, I had the Lakers question, which you answered.
Okay, yeah,
So,
yeah.
So the last question I have, the 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl, can you name them?
12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl. Let's start home with the Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
You are correct.
The Browns.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
Lions.
Yep.
Put it up. Indianapolis is one.
Chargers.
Chargers is correct. Indianapolis.
Arizona.
You said there's 12. There's 12 of
the
them?
Arizona
12
Cardinals.
At the publishing of this article, there were 12 teams that had never won.
Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals have never won.
Charlotte. Whatever the Carolina
The
Panthers.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
Did we say the
Panthers.
Colts?
Colts won one. Peyton
Colts
Manning.
did win one.
The Colts did win one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Colts
wow.
did win one. I'm going through the
How many are we at?
all the divisions.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're at 7.
Mhm.
I'm trying to go through the different divisions and figure
The
this
Jets?
out. Jets won Super Bowl 3.
Does that even
Only to be
count?
crushed and run out ever again. I'm surprised I know so much of this trivia.
It's before Roman numerals, so I don't know if it counts.
Yeah, I don't think it should count because it wasn't called the Super
No,
Bowl.
it definitely counts.
No, it was called Super Bowl. The
Joe
first-
Namath
the first
went
two
out, partied his butt off. I think it was in Miami, and said, "We are going to win the Super Bowl. The Jets are going to win. I guarantee it." No one thought the Jets had a chance to beat Don Shula's coached Colts, and Joe Namath did it. It was the first time the AFC won, and so that is how that went.
That's
What are
hilarious.
we missing?
We're missing a few teams. You're missing the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bungles.
Bengals, yep.
They never won one.
What about the Titans?
Titans have not won one.
You're right.
We know
The
they-
Bengals have never won one?
Mhm.
Oh, Joe Burrow, man, come on.
The Bears won. The Vikings have never won.
You're right.
Sorry, Barbara G.
Wow.
Put
the
it in comments
Vikings.
already.
Vikings, Lions. Who else is in that division?
We're only missing one, right?
The Bears won. Who else is in that? The Green Bay's
We're
won.
missing 2.
You got the Atlanta Falcons. The
Yep.
New Orleans Saints won one year.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Because they pulled it off. It's 1, 2, 3.
There's 10 there.
Okay, so we're missing 2.
I think you named one that he didn't write down.
Which one was that?
Was it Cardinals or Chargers?
I said the Cardinals.
Yeah, we wrote down
and
the
we
Chargers.
said the Chargers. We got Cardinals
Okay.
and Chargers on here. We got Jags, Browns, Falcons, Lions, Chargers, Cardinals, Panthers, Bengals, Titans, Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of hapless teams that have not won. And I'm trying to think of everybody in the league, but
I think you're only missing one.
Oh, the Texans?
Texans. Yeah. So Browns, Bills. Did you mention the
Bills.
Bills?
We did not have the Bills.
Browns,
Sorry,
Bills,
Susan Johnson.
Chargers, Bengals, Cardinals,
There it is.
Falcons, Lions, Jaguars, Panthers, Texans, Titans, and the Vikings.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
That's
can't
what I
believe
got.
the Bills have never won one. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You
Sorry,
should
guys.
keep that for tomorrow.
I will. I'll email you this list, sir.
You might want to. It might be helpful to you if you know that list.
Yep.
Because you will blow the Bollocks boys out of the water.
Yeah.
I would put that to memory today.
Who wins one first on that list?
Bills, right? They were so close to getting there this year.
I mean, so were the Vikings, and so were the who else is on the list?
Are we going to add it to the book of bets?
So the
I'm taking
Jags are in
Bills.
trouble. I can add that to it. I don't think the Browns are near it. The Falcons aren't. Lions maybe.
Lions. That was the other one I was
The
thinking of.
Lions are a maybe. Chargers are not. Cardinals are not. Panthers are not. Bengals. You got Joe Burrow, but he just seems to be getting beaten up. Titans no. Vikings are a maybe.
Nah, they don't have a quarterback, man.
They can fix that. I don't
You
think
are
the Texans.
killing our viewership with Barbara Jean, Levi. You cut your hair and now you're talking trash about our Vikings.
I mean, I'm a Falcons and Jags fan. Both my teams are on the list.
Yeah.
So
This is a horrible place to be at to pick between Susan Johnson and Barbara Jean.
I think the Bills.
I'm
The
going to
Bills.
take the Bills.
I'm going Bills.
I think
Yeah.
the
Going
Bills. I
Bills.
think it's pretty
Yeah.
unanimous.
Okay.
The Bills are going to get there. Sorry, Barbara Jean. The Vikings are just snake bit in the playoffs.
I'll take Vikings for the second ones.
And I
Get off the list.
loved the Vikings back in the day.
Yeah.
Fran Tarkington and the Immaculate
I love the
Reception.
purple.
Loved it all.
was
Loved
fun.
them.
It's a fun show, guys.
Great show. You guys enjoy. There's a morning show on in the morning, I think.
Something like that.
The energy level I'm hearing from
stop it.
viewers was a lot better on Tuesday. I also heard today was an amazing show.
Mike Davis.
And the afternoon show, the energy's always up and high there. Davey brings it and crushes it, so you should
Yes.
watch that as well. So,
Last night was a fun episode.
yes, we'll see you tomorrow for Weekend Eats.
Awesome. See y'all.
Bye, guys.